were on the floor dodging. All we could hear was bullets flying. I went to my window and I saw some man laying down there.
We received a call of a traffic accident where a van had hit a pole. The driver was deceased. It is being investigated as a homicide at this time.
I went to my window and I saw some man laying down there.
Emotions were running high at this West Mobile crime scene. Police had to step in to get the situation under control when the crime scene was charged several times. Even news cameras were rushed, including ours.
We are working a murder investigation. We have one person deceased from gunshot as well as one person injured from gunshot.
Mobile police say Kenya Webb was shot and killed inside this home. We're told Travis Seals was also shot but was sent to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, I heard a popping sound, but I didn't see anything that happened.
We were on the floor dodging. All we could hear was bullets flying.
While police are still looking for the shooter,
We are still looking for the person responsible. We hope that anybody that saw anything right around 12:15 will be able to provide us with information, vehicle description, suspect description, anything would be very helpful in this investigation at this point.
family members are grieving their loss. From the air, water, and land, more than 50 searchers scour the Mobile Bay, looking for the bodies of 4 small children.
We acknowledge and have to admit that we really are in a recovery stage at this point. We don't believe that the chances of someone in the water right here being alive is very good.
Mobile County Sheriff Sam Cochran says the children's father, 37-year-old Lamb Long, confessed to throwing an infant and 3 toddlers off the Dauphin Island Bridge.
They're children. They're babies. They're babies. They didn't ask to be brought into this world.
Emotions at time were high at the scene where a woman with no connection to the children felt compelled to lay flowers.
I cannot understand it. I mean, it just will break your heart.
Meanwhile, divers suited up, acting on one of the strongest leads of the day. They're focusing their attention on the area right around the bridge.
We've had some sort of hits by the cadaver dogs in certain areas around the bridge. Of course, as a result of that, we've put sonar in under the bridge and have spotted some possible targets, if you would, or things to further search.
Billy White says his little boy's health is now at risk, all because of a sewage problem he says his landlord won't fix.
My son was out here on Easter Sunday playing with all the other kids hunting Easter eggs and chasing each other, and my son fell in a septic tank that had blown the lid open from the raw sewage running out.
This is home video White shot of his 4-year-old son Trevor after that fall,
All the way up to his waist where he fell through the sewage tank.
before he was taken to the hospital. Now White's worried his son could contract a handful of diseases, or worse.
Luckily, there was somebody out here. Had there not been somebody out here, he could have drowned and died right there. That is why I'm so upset.
White showed us the problem. Raw sewage is overflowing in his yard and next door.
I've asked my landlord for 8 months to fix this sewage that's running over on the ground. Constantly he's told me, clean your yard up and I'll fix the sewage. Well, I've cleaned it up. Once I get it cleaned up, he rides by and tells me, you're doing a good job, rides in, rides out, and I don't hear anything else out of him.
He even filed this complaint with the Mobile County Health Department about the raw sewage and asked someone to help ASAP. The health department tells us they did find a failing sewage system here and raw sewage on the ground. Does this pose a health risk?
Oh, obviously. Anytime that you've got raw sewage on the ground, that's the whole reason we have septic tank systems in the first place.
We wanted to know what White's landlord had to say about this mess.
This is Kimberly Kerr with WKRG News 5.
So we gave him a call.
Can you make any comments regarding the raw sewage issue there in between lot 18 and 19 and the fact that a child has fallen into a septic tank?
No, ma'am, I can't comment. I'm sorry.
White's landlord says he's been advised by his attorney to not comment. As for White, he says he really can't afford to move, but says he has no choice. He says his son can't live like this.
My son shouldn't have to play in sewage because I won't clean my yard up.
It needs cleaning out very bad. It holds snake beds.
With all of these bushes and garbage, Randy Lofton says it's been the perfect breeding ground for the serpents. He says he caught this one with a pole as proof.
And I went back down and I gigged them and stole them up on the bank.
The crawling creatures are giving other neighbors the creeps.
I'm afraid to come out of my yard. I be looking every time I come out the door now. Because, you don't never know when you might walk up on one.
And when we were there, we spotted this one slithering out of the water.
It's infected with snakes.
While Lofton plans to get rid of this reptile, he hopes the city will work on unclogging the ditch.
This morning, one of the city workers came out. He said that he was going to get around to doing it, but the machine is broke down. He can't promise me when he'll get back out here.
But living next to a ditch that doesn't drain, Lofton says he can't keep up with the pests that live there.
I know if the ditch was cleaned out, the snakes wouldn't be here. They won't have a house somewhere to breathe. They won't have all this, You can't even see the ditch for the debris. It's just ridiculous.
You might think a whole lot of this, and too much of that would mean a few extra bucks on a power bill. Try $724 and some change.
I was scared because I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and if the power was to get cut off, I wouldn't know what else to do.
James Parnell and his family moved into the 1,300 square foot house in late February.
If something's not adding up right, that means I either have somebody stealing my power or the meter's wrong or something like that. There's got to be a mistake.
James made a number of calls to Alabama Power. A meter reader even showed up, but that didn't help.
And they checked the meter and said, everything's good. I said, what you mean everything's good? He said, numbers are good. I said, no, they ain't.
James was back on the phone when we stopped at his rental house in West Mobile.
And now we're stuck with almost $800 power bill, and there's nothing that we can do about it.
So we took his problem downtown.
This is an unusual case. This does not happen very often. We have seen things like this happen in the past.
Fogarty says calling the power company usually fixes bill mistakes. He actually did call, and he had someone come out and look at the meter, and they said, yep, that's how much you owe.
That's correct. I will verify that that's exactly right.
It turns out the Parnells didn't owe that much, and Alabama Power is knocking almost $500 off the bill. When we got to the church, I snapped a picture as proof.
Oh, that's a good shot.
Then we showed the controversial sign to people in coastal Mississippi.
What is it? What is it?
At a church.
For real?
That was just told me.
The innuendos were too hard to ignore.
So they giving out free Sunday night sex again. What they having sex at the church?
Glad Tidings Assembly of God is advertising sex.
Thousands of people drive past this sign in Ocean Springs every day. So what does Sunday night sex mean at a church?
John Watson is the pastor and the man behind the sign.
People have to understand that it is just a nickname. It's a very playful nickname for something that's very much needed today, romance in marriage.
Watson says the class is based on a relationship in the Bible between King Solomon and one of his wives.
And talking about it in a very open way, that somehow we're reclaiming what has been perverted and teaching it in a very positive light.
For 6 weeks, participants will have a weekly love lesson.
Sunday night sex begins March 30th. Maybe I need to go to this.
But for some, advertising on a church sign is just too much.
That's not the right kind of attention.
Why? What kind of message?
You see what it says? That's on a church sign.
The church hopes to keep Sunday night sex going. You're on your own the rest of the week.